Welcome everyone. Thank you for making time to join today's webinar on the topic Web and API Security from Exposure to Protection. For years, we've treated web application firewalls and API gateways as separate islands. But as our digital architectures have become cloud native and API heavy, those silos have become our greatest vulnerability. Today, we aren't just talking about securing an endpoint. We are talking about WAP, Web Application and API Protection. We will explore how to move beyond static manual rules to an integrated model that combines WAF, bot defense, and API security into a single intelligence shield. Our goal for today is to show you how to close the holes poked by modern interactivity and achieve true resilience from the edge to the back end. Let's dive in. My name is Tai Ebenezer Buahini, and I'm a senior support engineer here at MONITORAPP. I will be your host for today. I would also like to bring to your attention that this session is being recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you miss anything, you can catch up the full replay there later. You can send in your questions in the chat. If you have additional general questions, kindly email us on marketing@monitorapp.com. And for technical questions, please email us on tech_support@monitorapp.com. Before we proceed, I would like to seize this opportunity to briefly introduce MONITORAPP to you. MONITORAPP is a security vendor that has been researching and developing industry-leading application acceleration and security technologies a little over 20 years now. We are a public company listed on KOSDAQ, which is the Korean stock market, and we are headquartered in Seoul, South Korea. We currently have 2 international branches, one in Japan and the other in the US. We are a B2B cybersecurity technology vendor with a catalog of layer 7 security technologies. MONITORAPP offers complete flexibility. Now, whether you require physical hardware, virtual appliances on public clouds like AWS and Azure, or privately managed virtual environments, we provide a full range of solutions tailored to your specific deployment and architectural needs. Our cloud-based security as a service platform, Aeon Cloud, is subscription-based and tailors the solution to your deployment and compliance needs. From WAP with CDN to zero trust remote access and endpoint protection, our catalog ensures your entire ecosystem is secured, performant, and managed from a single provider. And that's what Aeon Cloud brings to bear. We also have AI Labs, which is AI-driven cyber threat intelligence platform with real-time threat intelligence on attack vectors, IP reputation, URL reputation, and the likes. AI Labs is recognized for its industry-leading intelligence. Our inclusion on VirusTotal underscores the specialized value we provide to security analysts and SOC teams worldwide. Now, to learn more about our solution portfolio, please visit monitorapp.com. Now, currently, we have 30 partners, 40 points of presence across 15 different countries. This is where we are at the moment, but we are rapidly expanding. Now, I want to wrap up this brief introduction by highlighting our thousands of satisfied clients across diverse industries, both domestically and internationally. These clients include service providers, financial institutions, and government institutions and departments. These are just a few of the major organizations we serve, many of which I'm sure you recognize. Now, with a brief intro out of the way, let's proceed with the agenda of the day. I want to start with a number, 10 seconds. That's how long it takes for a newly deployed unprotected API to be scanned by a bot today. 10 years ago, we talked about building moats around our data centers. But today, the moat is gone. Between your cloud-native apps, third-party integrations, and the explosion of microservices, your perimeter isn't a line on a map anymore. It's a scattered web of entry points. If you feel like you are playing a game of security whack-a-mole, blocking an IP here, patching a vulnerability there, while worrying about a DDoS attack tomorrow, you are not alone. That's exactly why we are here today. Today, we are diving into WAP, Web Application and API Protection, and Website Security Posture Check. We aren't just talking about a product. We are talking about a unified strategy to protect the three things that keep your business running: your code, your data, and your customers' trust. In the next 40 minutes, I'm going to be very intentional with your time. Here is our roadmap. First, we will break down the 4 pillars of WAP: WAF, bot management, API security, and DDoS protection, and why they must work together. Second, we will look at the shadow API crisis. Note that you can't protect what you don't know exists. Third, I'm going to show you how to configure your defense through a brief demo. And finally, we'll wrap up with a review. So come with me, let's dive in. Now we'll start by why WAP. Now the shift to the cloud has left many organizations exposed. Traditional firewalls simply weren't built for today's digital landscape. WAP fills this critical gap, providing a multi-layered defense, specifically engineered to protect the APIs that power your business today. WAP is a holistic solution that combines 4 critical defenses into one. We have the WAF, which is the Web Application Firewall. We have the bot management. We have the DDoS protection. And last but not the least, the API security. Let's take a quick look at each of these in the following slides. I'm going to start with the WAF. WAF still remains a critical component of WAP. While traditional security relied on static patterns, today's sophisticated signature-based attacks use encoding and authentication to slip through the cracks. Now, to counter this, next-generation WAF functions within a WAP framework, which moves beyond the simple registers to a contextual signal analysis. By analyzing the how and why of a request rather than just its syntax, the next-generation firewall provides the surgical precision needed to block modern exploits without breaking legitimate traffic from your favorite customers. So as you can see from my diagram here, we have the OWASP top 10 for 2025. And we have these rapidly changing. So you need to have a WAF capable of blocking all these attacks. Broken access control still remains the number 1. And now we have security misconfiguration moving all the way from the number 5 position to 2. It tells you a lot. Let's proceed to take a look at the API section. So why do you need a WAP? Because APIs are everywhere now. Recently, API have transitioned from being engineering byproducts to the foundational products, powering global digital transformation and AI integration. Now, according to the latest Industry State of Application Security 2025 report, API attacks have skyrocketed by 126% year on year. To understand the urgency of our current security landscape, we have to look at the numbers. Currently, we are facing a massive breach prevalence gap. 57% of organizations have experienced at least one API-related data breach in just the last 2 years. Attempts to exploit API vulnerabilities increased 13-fold, and DDoS incidents targeting API hosts surged by a whopping 388% per site. Now, this isn't just a streak of bad luck, it's a direct result of critical detection blind spots. Shockingly, only 21% of teams feel they have a high ability to detect these attacks at the API layer, largely because we are only testing about 38% of our APIs for vulnerabilities. This exposure is becoming even more dangerous as we integrate AI. The AI attack surface is almost entirely built on this fragile foundation. 98.9% of AI-related vulnerabilities involve APIs, and nearly half of all exploited vulnerabilities in the 2025 CITSA catalog were API-related. Perhaps most concerning is that we can't simply log in our way out of this. 95% of API attacks last year happened within authenticated sessions. This proves that basic login security is no longer enough to stop lateral movement once an attacker is inside. We need a defense that actually understands the unique logic of our APIs. Hence, the WAP. According to the latest 2025 report, which analyzes traffic from the full 2024 calendar year, a major tipping point was reached where automated traffic officially surpassed human activity. For the first time in a decade, bot activities surpassed human activities on the web, accounting for 51%, of which only 14% comprise of good bots, like your search engine crawlers. The remaining continuous growing percentage is malicious. From the diagram I have here, you can see the distribution, with good bots being 14%, human at 49%, and your bad bots at 37%. In general, bad bots have lots of negative impact. Aside the DDoS, web scraping, carding attacks, and the likes, there are huge financial implications. According to Casada, a staggering 96% of organizations reported losing revenue to malicious bot attacks in the past year. Notably, 38% of these organizations estimated that a single bot attack cost them $500,000. With complex bots that mimic human mouse movements, spoof browser fingerprints, and circumvent basic bot mitigation technologies, the need for similarly powerful bot detection and mitigation systems has never been more pressing. Let's also take a look at the DDoS aspect of the WAP. According to Cloudflare and Google, the total DDoS attacks increased by 70% year over year. Now, over 35% of organizations report being targeted by a DDoS attack last year. From the chart, Layer 7 DDoS attacks are growing nearly 2 times faster than Layer 3 and Layer 4 due to things like the API abuse, botnets mimicking human interaction, harder detection at application level. According to the same sources, 70% of attacks cause outages lasting more than 30 minutes, with an average cost of $20,000 to $40,000 per hour. Ultimately, the human-like problem has reached a tipping point because these sophisticated threats perfectly mimic the legitimate traffic of your most valued customers. The risk of collateral damage makes traditional blunt force blocking a liability your business can no longer afford. Now, this brings us to a conclusion of why you need the WAP. That's where the WAP comes in. From all the four pillars we've seen, API, DDoS, and you have bots. You need a sophisticated integration of all these solutions to take care of your infrastructure. That's where the WAF comes in. The WAF seamlessly integrates all the critical protection points needed to shield your web apps and API from today's most deceptive threats. Now that we know why we need WAP, let's take a look at what the Ion Cloud WAP is and what it offers. Here you can see the different service categories Ion Cloud offer. I want to be clear that the scope of today's webinar will focus exclusively on the capabilities of Ion Cloud's website protection service. If you are interested in the other categories, there are a few webinar recordings on our YouTube channel. Please check them out. Lastly, I want to mention that the entire Ion Cloud platform is linked to our threat intelligence platform, AI Labs, which updates all of these services with almost real time with new patterns and vulnerability patches, while also analyzing the traffic of the network for zero-day exploits and anomalies with machine learning. Let's get back to the topic of today. One common misconception is that WAP is just a fancy new name for a traditional WAF. In reality, it represents a massive evolution in how we defend modern applications. Think of it as these four core pillars working in synchronization. First, we have next generation WAF. While old school WAFs relied solely on signatures, we now use behavioral analysis to catch sophisticated SQL injection and cross-site scripting attacks that signatures might miss. Second is API security. You can't protect what you don't see. We focus on API discovery to hunt down shadow APIs and use schema enforcement to ensure only legitimate traffic gets through. Third, we tackle bot problem with advanced bot management. We are moving beyond simple captures to use machine learning and device fingerprinting, allowing us to distinguish between a real customer and a malicious script mimicking human behavior. Finally, there's DDoS protection. We provide a multi-layered shield to mitigate volumetric attacks across layer 3, 4, and 7, ensuring your services stay online even under heavy pressure. So this diagram shows how we get you protected. Aeon Cloud fixes the problem by sharing certificates that the web server uses with the WAP. Now it gets to decrypt traffic for inspection before re-encrypting it and sending it on to its destination. That way, information will still be protected on the web and even when going through internal private networks. So from the diagram here, you can see how traffic moves from your client end through to Aeon Cloud before it hits your web server. Now, once it gets to Aeon Cloud and any malicious traffic is detected, everything is dropped and nothing hits your web server. However, if the traffic is legitimate, Aeon Cloud will decrypt, inspect, and encrypt it and forward it to your web server and back and forth. Now to wrap up this section for the WAP, I want to enlist the 3 core value propositions of Aeon Cloud WAP. 1, we have the unified management. So we consolidate WAF, API, bot, and DDoS security into one integrated platform. Now this gives you a centralized control via a single console to reduce operational cost, of course. 2, we have location agnostic protection. Aeon Cloud WAF ensures consistent high performance security across on-premise, public cloud, and private clouds. Aeon Cloud WAP is integrated with our AI-driven intelligence, AI labs, to block zero-day and sophisticated multi-vector threats, keeping you proactive rather than reactive. The last is efficiency and lower total cost of ownership. Aeon Cloud replaces expensive hardware with a cost-effective subscription-based cloud model. We offer automated scalability and updates to reduce total cost of ownership. Now that we know what Aeon Cloud offers, let's take a quick look at some of the key features of the WAP. Since I've talked about the WAF, bot mitigation, API security, and DDoS mitigation, I'll throw light on CDN for this slide. Aeon Cloud WAP doesn't just protect, it optimizes. Now, by integrating a global CDN directly into our security stack, we eliminate the traditional trade-off between safety and speed. We deliver content from the edge cloud closest to your users, significantly reducing latency while simultaneously scrubbing traffic for threats. This ensures that whether your data sits in a private data center or a public cloud, your user experience peak performance without compromising on our comprehensive single point security. Now this briefly illustrates how traffic travels through Aeon Clouds and how we manage it seamlessly, allowing legitimate users while blocking malicious activity at the edge. By serving a single point of integration, we ensure that security never comes at a cost of performance. In summary, Aeon Cloud WAP provides a comprehensive defense in-depth strategy by integrating 4 critical security pillars: WAF for web attacks, a dedicated API protection, an advanced bot mitigation, and a real-time level 3 through to level 7 DDoS defense. Beyond security, our integrated content delivery network ensures this protection doesn't sacrifice speed, optimizing content delivery while significantly reducing resource strain. It's a complete package designed for a faster, safer web presence. Now that we've seen the WAF, let's quickly take a look at the website security posture check. We've established that cloud computing is no longer an option. It's actually a business necessity. But as we move up the pyramid towards 2028, we have to ask, is our security posture maturing at the same rate as our infrastructure? With hundreds of zettabytes of data now residing in the cloud, we've reached a point of data gravity where your web applications are the primary target for global threat actors. You simply cannot defend this massive distributed footprint using outdated manual security checks from even 2 years ago. This is why website security posture check is now foundational. It provides automated continuous oversight required to map and fix vulnerabilities across your entire cloud-driven attack surface. Website security posture check is a mandatory health assessment for any organization moving up this cloud maturity pyramid. From the diagram I have here, you get to see some metrics. Currently, 96% of enterprises use the cloud. 83% of enterprises' workload are in the cloud. And data stored in the cloud is expected to be, which we are already here, 100 zettabytes by the end of 2025. Cloud computing is also expected to become an essential resource for the majority of businesses by 2028. So it tells you the movement to the cloud is in session and nothing is going to change any moment from now. Now, let's look at some numbers. While 60% remains a standard benchmark for general exposure, the severity has increased. In 2025, approximately 38% of all reported vulnerabilities were rated as high or critical severity. Security teams are now managing a flood of nearly 130 new vulnerabilities every single day. However, we have a declining resolution rate from 56% to 54% recently. Now, this comes from a 2025 report which indicates that resolution rates for large enterprises have dropped to roughly 54.6%, meaning nearly 45.4% of critical vulnerabilities now go unresolved within a 12-month period. Now, imagine what attackers can do within that period. According to the 2025 Verizon Data Breach Investigations Report, vulnerability exploitation as an initial access vector has jumped to 20% of all breaches, nearly triple what it was just 2 years ago. According to Statista, as of September 2025, the average time to resolve critical vulnerabilities has seen a slight global improvement to approximately 165 days from the previous 195 or 96 days or so. However, a dangerous exploitation gap has emerged. Defenders take roughly 165 days to resolve a flaw, while attackers are now weaponizing vulnerabilities in as little as 44 days. While you are resolving flaws slightly faster than in 2022, attackers are moving nearly 4 times faster to exploit them. This is why we need an automated approach to proactively staying protected by identifying and fixing vulnerabilities before the bad guys exploit them. Now, that's what the website security posture check is all about. Let's quickly take a look at some of the features it presents. Now, to ensure your digital front door remains resilient, IronCloud Website Security Posture Check provides continuous automated oversight across 6 critical areas. 1, we have the malware scanning. We use signature and machine learning based detection to root out hidden malicious files, protecting both your users and your data. 2, we do TLS or SSL monitoring. We monitor certificate validity and detect tampering in real time to ensure all communication remains encrypted and secure. Now, the third one is defacement monitoring. This acts as an early warning system, alerting you instantly if your website content is tampered with, preserving your brand's integrity. We also do block list monitoring, which proactively checks if your site has been flagged on global block list, preventing damage to your search engine ranking and credibility. We also have the DNS record monitoring. This verifies your DNS configurations to prevent domain hijacking and unauthorized record changes that could misdirect your traffic. Last but not the least, we have the security config scanner. Finally, what we do here is we evaluate your overall setup and provide a simple security score, giving you an at-a-glance view of your current risk level. So you basically work on the provided roadmap to get your platform protected. In short, IronCloud Website Security Posture Check shifts your defense from reactive to proactive by combining automated daily scans with instant alert configurations. We provide a continuous health check for your web environment. Now, whether it's detecting malware, monitoring SSL validity, or catching unauthorized defacements, Website Security Posture Check ensures your site stays secure and reachable, giving you a clear pass or fail score at a glance. And this diagram depicts how we get to scan your website. Now, concluding this phase, a secure application starts with a clean foundation. We all agreed. That's exactly what we provide with the IronCloud Website Security Posture Check. It's not just a scanner, it's a strategic health check for your entire web presence. Now, you get 3 core things. 1, you get a comprehensive assessment. We go beyond surface level flaws to identify deep-seated vulnerabilities, misconfigured SSL certificates, and defacements that traditional tools often miss. 2, you get rapid response guidelines. We don't just list problems. We provide actionable guidelines to build a rapid response system, giving your team a clear playbook to neutralize threats before they are exploited by the bad guys. The third one is protecting your brand credibility, which is quite important. We prevent the loss of brand credibility by securing your environment early, You ensure your customers always interact with a safe, reliable, and trusted digital front door. You can have the best WAP in the world, but if your SSL expires or your DNS is misconfigured, and some of these basic vulnerabilities, your site still goes down. This is what the website security posture check ensures never happens. Now, let's take a quick look at the demo. Now that we've established the critical need for a unified defense, let's move from theory into practice. I'm going to walk you through a live demo of the AI WAP and the website security posture check services so you can see exactly how these operate in a real-world environment. I've structured this demo to follow the natural workflow of a security operations team. We will start with a dashboard overview to see your global threat posture at a glance. We will proceed with adding security policies and configurations. This is where the integration happens. We will show you how to set unified policies across web, API, and CDN layers simultaneously. We will also walk you through website security posture check configurations, demonstrating how easy it is to set up continuous posture checks for your domains. I'm going to end with taking a look at the scan results from our website security posture check configurations and also checking for vulnerability detections or attack detections from our threat event logs. This is where you will see those human-like layer 7 attacks we discussed being identified as neutralized in real time. Now let's jump into the dashboard and take a quick look at it before we proceed accordingly. So this is our dashboard, and this is where we get to add our domain for protection. So quickly, I have one domain already added, and let's see how IonCloud blocks malicious traffic coming to the server. So this is how the domain looks like, and we have pre-configured web attack simulation. So something like this, you click on it and you send the attack to the web server. IonCloud blocks it and it doesn't hit the web server. It shows you the block page. So just gonna run a couple of them for the event logs later on. So okay, that's enough. Let's check how we can configure this protection. So you quickly click on add domain, and I have another domain, demo server, we can use for this test. So demo server.monitorweb.click. So once we have it like this, we need to verify. So let's check the domain, and everything is okay. So automatically populates the IP of the server down here. So in case you have the same service running on multiple servers, it's going to populate all of them, all the IPs of those servers down here, so you can do load balancing. If you want to also add HTTP traffic, you can do that. Now note that we are using CDN, but once you are using CDN, you cannot do anything either than port 443 and 80. And we also have root domain. Once you select to add root domain, you wouldn't be able to use CDN. So these are the things you need to keep in mind. Now we come down here and we have our certificates upload, and this is quite the most important bit of this configuration, because without this certificate, IonCloud wouldn't be able to intercept traffic bound for your web server and inspect it. So here I already have certificates from my web server. However, if you don't have one for your web server, you can issue TLS certificate through IonCloud, and all you need to do is just agree to this and proceed, and the certificate will be issued for you. Since I already have mine, I'm just going to upload them. And one thing to notice, because I'm using CDN, I'm required to upload the full change certificate, not the set.pem. So I'm just going to proceed. I'm going to add my private key file as well. And now I'm going to check whether my domain name matches my certificate. And as you can see, it does. You have the TLS certificate details down here. And since I've already added HTTP, I'm going to do a redirect here. So anybody who hits HTTP and my domain name, it should redirect them to HTTPS, my domain name. And this is a fallback page where when your server is not available or it's down for whatever reason, this fallback page will be displayed instead. So I'm just going to leave it there. If you want to do a redirect, you can put in your URL to redirect. So if you want a quick preview of how the fallback page looks like, it's something like this. So now I'm going to apply. And IronCloud is going to issue us a C name. A C name that we need to go and modify our DNS to point to this C name. So my server is hosted on AWS EC2, and I'm currently using route 53 for the DNS. So I'm going to quickly move through to modify my DNS record, and we have to change this to CNAME, and I'm going to paste in the record I got from IronCloud. So now I've pasted it in here. Click OK. Let's go back to the console. Confirm. And as you can see, our website is enrolled. However, our WAP and our CDN are not up and running yet. It's going to take a while for this to work. So whilst we wait, let's quickly run through some of the configurations we can do. So first of all, I'll walk you through our dashboard, and this is how you get your threats at a glance. So you can see the initial attacks that I sent earlier. I'm in Korea, so that's what it's going to tell you. And since we don't have any API yet, it's going to, like, we are just seeing web traffic, not API calls. It tells you the URL the attack is trying to access, the rule that is blocking or kicking in, the IP of the attacker, the domain name. So you can see all this. Same with the CDN as well. So you have the cache hits and the uncached counts. You have all this, and you get the number of codes, like response codes down here, and their proportions. Now let's quickly take a look at our CDN settings. So with the CDN settings, you can do a custom delete where you can specify a particular path and delete the whole path or a specific folder or a specific file, beg your pardon. You can also select specific paths with extensions to cache. You can configure your time to live here, and you can also do course configuration where you can allow all origins or just for specific origins. We do rewrite, we do access control. Now, just to keep this demo short, I'm going to walk you through the configurations we have briefly. Let's move to API security, quite an important one. I don't currently have an API here on this domain, but I'm going to quickly walk you through how the configuration looks like. So the first thing you need is to upload your API schema here. So this is your base part, basically your API host. And by default, it gives you the domain that you've protected. So you just put the path where your API is hosted. And you can upload the API schema. And these are the extensions we do support. We do YAML, we do JSON, and the other. Now you can do, once you upload this, you can configure whether you want to do a manual API profiling or automatic. Should you choose automatic, you can actually specify the number of API calls before the API endpoint is being added to your API endpoints. So I'm gonna keep this off. And we also do JSON web token. So in case you want to do authentication for your header, you can do that. You can do schema validation down here. Once you are done, you click apply and you can have this on. You click apply. And once you have this, you can set all these configurations, like go in depth on API profiling, token validation, payload validation. We do rate limiting, access control based on geographical location and IP. You can do all that. Now let's move to web security. Now this is where you configure your basic web security, like your OWASP top 10 vulnerability protection. So here you can just set them to block, as you can see. And yeah, and just set them to block. If you're on a live server, if you're just testing, you can just dictate some just to monitor how traffic is being handled when it comes to Ion Cloud. You can also do user-defined policies or rules, where you can set your own custom regex patterns to block specific or more granular attacks. We also do bot management. So you have so many options. Right from the word go, we have the IP reputation. These are IPs that are associated to some bad bots. So right from this end, you can click block and you can block all of them. And it has a healthy amount of descriptive text to let you know what you are blocking. So you can also take a look at that. You can do rate limiting for the bot traffic too. So how many times traffic is supposed to come from one end within a specific period of time, you can do that. You can do force browsing. All these configurations are available to you. Credential stuffing, you can do that. And we have a challenge page. Now you don't trust this is an actual it's a traffic coming from your favorite customer. It could be a bot, right? But you are not too sure. You don't want to block outright. So you have two options to actually confirm this. We have the captcha page where you can just throw in a captcha for them to solve, or you can do email two-factor where they put in their email address and a code will be sent to them and they'll be required to enter that code correctly before they can proceed. So you have these two options, and you can always modify this captcha page to suit your brand. You have the security settings where you can configure some basic security like your X forwarded for where you want to fetch the client IP when the browser is behind a proxy. Yeah, so now our configuration should be up and running, so let's go check it out. So as you can see, the WAP is fully in session, but the CDN is still loading. Of course, it's copying files to our global edge infrastructure, so this is definitely gonna take a while. That's why I configured one ahead of time, so we see how it works. So let's hit our demo server, and this is our demo server, the one we just protected, and try to send some attacks and see how the Ion Cloud platform blocks it. So I just sent an SQL attack, and as we have it, it's been blocked. I'm gonna send another, and it's been blocked. So just to make this video short, I'm gonna just go into the security event, so we see the number of attacks that has come in. You can actually export these too, and you can generate reports from these for your C-level bosses. So briefly, this is Ion Cloud WAP, and you have a whole lot of configurations to do. Just to give you a quick glance of this, so we'll end this one here. Let's quickly move to the website security posture check, and the service is right here. You just click on website security posture check, and this is how the console looks like for website security posture check. Same with the WAP. I've pre-configured one domain to show you how the scan works. So I've run the scan, and this scan, as you can see, it runs twice a day automatically. So it's done the scan, it tells you no malware detected. It tells you the number of URLs is scanned. And our block list, also we are not listed on any block list platform. Defacement, there's no defacement going on. It tells you unchanged, and you can actually preview the capture. It looks like something you've seen earlier, right? Yeah. And our SSL certificates also is fine. No changes there. Because the domain we are using is actually a subdomain, we wouldn't be able to do the scanning on the DNS records. So that is out. Now we have the security config. This one scans the web server to assess your security configurations, whether your posture is okay or there are certain things you need to do. And as you can see, we have certain things right, but there are a lot of things we need to put some work on. And as you can see, it gives you a score. So in case you don't even know, right from here, you know this score is really, really abysmal. So you need to do something about it. So the settings here is pretty much straightforward. I configured the depth of my scan, and you can set whether you want to scan the external URLs in your server. I decided not to. I mean your domain, I beg your pardon, I decided not to. You can do a lot of stuff, like you can configure whether you want to spoof the crawler. So maybe if there are some configurations trying to prevent your crawling or your scanning, you can spoof that. We also have direct IP, so you can enter the IP address of your web server and do the scanning. In case you have URLs that require authentication, you can put in your credentials for scanning right from the console here. So you can do configurations like this, and the defacement scanning, this is how it looks like, where you get to capture the current state of your domain, your website, and should it change by an unauthorized activity, you'll be prompted for defacement. We also have the certificate settings, where you can upload the certificate like we did earlier, or you can download, because once your domain is up and running, Aeon Cloud can download your certificate, and it will prompt you per the settings you have here when your certificate is about to expire. Like I mentioned earlier, this is not a root domain, so we wouldn't be able to do DNS scanning configurations. And the auto scan settings, now you can set for this scan to run automatically, and once it's done, it should send you the results through email. So you can add your email here to do that. Let's quickly take a look at how to add this website quickly to just do the scanning. So I'm going to add the same website, demoserver.monitorappp.click, and we proceed. Now, if we are using a root domain, we have two options here to verify the ownership of our website. Now we can upload the file to the root folder, and there's a directive down here. Like, okay, all you need to do is, hey, you see, as soon as I uploaded it's telling me what I should do. I should create a .challenge folder and put this file within that .challenge folder. Now, if you are doing a root domain, you can do an additional step. Not additional step, you can actually do this instead of this first one. So you can just add this txt record to your DNS records, and you proceed with the ownership verification. Since we are doing subdomain, I'm just going to download the file. I'm just going to download this file, and I'm going to do the ownership verification with this one. So I'm just going to do a drag and drop of the file we just downloaded. So this is the file. I'm just going to drag it and drop to my EC2 instance. Now let's try and get the file to the root folders. Ubuntu. Okay. So this is the file. So let's move it to the root folder. Okay, forgot to add a command to move. All right, so now the file is in our root folder. Let's cd into our root folder and create the folder we were asked to create. I'm gonna make challenge, and I'm gonna move the file. Once again, I'm forgetting the command move to the folder we just created. Challenge. So now our file is moved to the challenge folder. Now the last step we are supposed to do is make the challenge folder a hidden folder. So we change the name .challenge to the name challenge to .challenge. So let's quickly do that. Sudo challenge to .challenge. So now, when we do, we shouldn't be able to see that folder. However, if we do -A, we should see the hidden challenge folder right here. And we can even cd into the hidden challenge folder and see the file that we downloaded right here. So now let's go and verify our ownership. Since we've uploaded the file, we just click ownership verification and our verification will be successful like this. And click registration and end the registration. As soon as it's added, the scan will start. So just the way like I walk us through the configurations that we can set ahead of time, once you add the domain like this, you can kind of pre-configure the kind of scans and how you want the scan to happen before the scan starts. And we can come here and you can do a rescan and it will initiate another manual scan for you. And this is how it does the scanning. And it's scanning for everything here, everything. You can also do the defacements again to be sure. You can do manual if you don't want to wait for the automatic. You can, and we can do another scan. And it gives you your results. So this is it for the website security posture check. And this is still for, don't forget, it's still for the one I added earlier. You can easily switch to the new one we added. And you can resume your scan same way like we did for the other one. Exactly, because we have almost the same thing on those two different domains. So this is basically how the scan works. So this scans twice a day and it gives you your security posture for your domain. Since I'm trying to keep this demo as brief as possible, I'm gonna end it here. Now that we've seen the WAP and the website security posture check in real life, let's review what we've studied or looked at so far. One, we have to acknowledge that signatures are no longer enough. Attackers are using polymorphic payloads that change form to bypass static rules. We must shift to behavioral signal-based detection that looks at the intent of a request, not just its syntax. Two, we are focused on solving the human-like problem, where 37% of web traffic now consists of bad bots that perfectly mimic human keystrokes and mouse movements. Traditional WAFs struggle. Now, next generation WAF functions are critical here to ensure we block the bots without accidentally locking out your favorite customers. The third one is API-first security. We also have to face the scale of the API revolution. APIs now drive over 60% of global traffic, with the average enterprise seeing 100 million daily API calls. You can't secure what you can't see. Automated discovery and protection at the API layer are now non-negotiable. In addition, we took a look at the website security posture check. Security isn't just about blocking attacks when they are coming in. It's about reducing the attack surface. So a continuous website security posture check allows us to find misconfigurations, vulnerabilities, and expire certificates before an attacker does. It's about being proactive rather than reactive. We also saw the edge resilience through the CDN. For your first line of defense, think of the CDN as a shield. By distributing your content globally, you absorb volumetric DDoS spikes at the edge, far away from your origin server. This ensures your application stays performant even under heavy fire. And the final one is a unified WAP strategy. The goal is a unified WAP strategy. Don't manage your CDN, WAF, and bot protection in silos. By integrating these into a single cohesive engine, you gain the visibility and speed needed to stop today's most sophisticated threats in real time. That brings us to the end of our session today. We've covered a lot of ground, from the rise of sophisticated human-like attacks to the critical role of next-gen WAF and API protection within a WAP framework. If there's one thing to take away, is the static security is a thing of the past. As your API traffic grows and attackers become more automated, your defense must be just as intelligent as integrated. Whether it's through a CDN-first approach or continuous posture checks, the goal is to protect your digital perimeter without ever compromising the experience for your legitimate users. I encourage you to take the next steps, perform a security posture check on your own environment, identify those vulnerabilities and misconfigurations before someone else does. Now, our team is here to help you navigate that process and ensure your web apps are truly resilient. You can also create a free account on Aeon Cloud to test the WAP. You get a 5 GB throughput to test that. Thank you all for your time. See you in the next one.